Anyway, there's something very important that I forgot to mention before I even fucking blast off and talk about it. Later today, I'm going to have Zachary Foster on. He's a PhD at Princeton. He's a historian of Palestine. We are going to be going through that video, Free Palestine, ? No thanks. The Israeli perspective you've probably never heard. This video that went viral a couple days ago, I wanted to bring a historian on to go through these claims, to cover the history of it. That is going to happen later. But also, I got a phone call this morning. I'm going to be on Piers Morgan before I fly out for TwitchCon. So, yeah, that's it. That's all I'm going to tell you on the matter for now. That's what I've been dealing with all morning. Not going to lie, I'm kind of shitting my pants a little bit. I'm a little terrified. Not because, like, I can't defend my claims or whatever, but I am always a little afraid every time my opinion reaches a larger audience, especially on an issue like Israel-Palestine. I get a little afraid, There's going to be some backlash. People, I have a bunch of unhinged haters that have probably prepared me for this moment, but you never know. Can't wait for a hospital debate? No, we'll don't worry. Just pretend you're the guy we watched yesterday, but without the heavy sarcasm. He's going to confront you with your selectively edited clips. No, that part is fine. That's not an issue. Anyway, just tell it like you do every day. You got this, Hossie. Yeah. Hold on. Let me get this ready to go. I'm going to blast off in a second because everyone wants me to immediately cover the updates from the IDF, the counters from the IDF, whether they are verifiable or not, whether they have any truth to it, whether my perspective has changed on the matter, which it has. I've already described it. I am definitely more iffy on this being... if yesterday I was at 90%, this is an Israeli airstrike. Today, I am at 60%. Actually, not even 60. I would say 50-50. 100%. All right, hold on. Not that it matters because it doesn't stop the atrocities in any meaningful capacity. Imagine that, withholding judgment until more info comes out. Proud of you. I mean, I said this yesterday as well. Yesterday I was at 90% Israel, and the only thing that could convince me otherwise is if I got independent third-party verification after parsing through the information on the ground. If there's a UN investigation that is allowed, this favors Israel. Israel would not allow the UN to do an investigation. Okay? If they weren't certain. If the UN does conclude an investigation, there is a real likelihood that investigation will show that obviously Israel's claims have been all over the fucking place, but that Israel was not the main actor in this. That could be. That could very well be the conclusion of this investigation. The Hamas IDF audio and stuff, those are all funny. We're going to look at that. No one is going to investigate. They're not letting anyone in. What are you saying? That's not true. Anyway, we'll continue with this coverage. Let me just blast off real quick, and then we'll get right into it. Well, Joe Brandon is in Israel. We're going to be talking about that. Zach Foster's going to come on. Zachary Foster's going to come on. We're going to talk about that as well. There's a lot to go through. But my job is not only to offer analysis for you, but my job is also to obviously tell you, to the best of my ability, what I think is going on. Sometimes you might not agree with me on that. Okay? IDF responds to hospital bombing. Joe Biden in Israel. Humanitarian aid allowed back into Gaza. Israel to ban Al Jazeera for reporting on the Gaza war. Nice. That's cool. That's the right thing to do. Yeah. Let's not have any news and information coming out of Gaza at all. Only I would love to only hear from whatever fucking IDF freak they prop up. To be like, actually, nobody died, and if they did die, it was all they were Hamas babies. Like, we should definitely get to a point where there's like full control, like entirely. People in Gaza don't have electricity, they don't have the internet. You know what I mean? When he says welcome to the show, Mr. Piker, respond, yes, I condemn Hamas. Okay, we'll talk about all that in it. They worry about saving the journalist's life. That's why they want to get Al Jazeera out of the region. Yeah, they're like, we don't want Al Jazeera to report in Gaza because we love striking them too much. And they keep getting in the way of all of our other targets that we want to strike. We only have a finite amount of munitions after all. We only recently asked for $10 billion of aid. So I have watched the Bassem Youssef video yesterday. It was very good. How likely do you think would a misfire be? Well, we're going to talk about that in a second. I'm going to get into it. Hold on. IDF responds to hospital bombing, claims Joe Biden is an Israel humanitarian aid allowed back in the Gaza, and more. We have raised 976,000 so far. Get in now. Here it is. Using your last name, Piker Turkish? Yeah, it's my grandfather picked it. So it's unique in the surname revolution. But it is, I think it's like, originally it's Bekirolu. So we chose Piker to not sound like Bekirolu like every other fucking Turkish person. And he picked it. Yeah, bitch. He picked it. People don't understand. Like, Turkey is the continuation of the Ottoman Empire, but it's certainly a new country. Okay, Bekiroğlu is son of Bekir. That is the original Muslim naming convention. Okay, Israel bombs a residential tower near the Al-Quds hospital. Yeah. I mean, this is the reason why I think it's like fucking insane that people are like, people are having this back and forth as though like, this is the Islamic Jihad. Like, this is the Islamic Jihad. They're killing their own people. It's like, okay, well, there's 4,200 people. Like, I don't believe you until I see third-party confirmation. Okay, a verifiable investigation, because you have given me zero reason to believe you ever. You've lied every single time. So no, that is my line. I said it yesterday. That's the only thing that will make me go, you know what? I was wrong. I'm absolutely willing to admit that I'm wrong. I will be glad to hear that the casualties are not at the thousands and in what people originally thought. I was happy to find out that the hospital was not leveled. Okay, these are all good things. These are all good pieces of information. This is all good news. Whether it was the Islamic Jihad or the IDF that bombed this hospital does not change the reality that Israel has bombed 22 other hospitals, including the hospital that we're talking about on Saturday, and also 4,200 Palestinians have been ruthlessly slaughtered by Israel's ongoing bombing campaign, and they are still bombing Gaza. It's not like this stopped, okay? They need to show beyond proof that it was not them until then is them. Yeah, of course. Anyone who tries to come in here and tell me, wow, it's so fucked up that you thought that as Israel was bombing Gaza, they bombed Gaza more and including a hospital that they said they were going to bomb. No, it's ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. We're not playing silly games here, okay? Be serious. Be for fucking real for like 3 seconds. Anyway, I understand none of this erases the struggle of Gaza or the plight of Palestinians, but I went from 90% IDF airstrike to 0% after today's details. It's 100% understandable why this narrative spread so quickly, and you've covered that well. Yeah, I think what's ridiculous is the geo-confirmed account that you are linking to me now is not even aligned with what Israel said happened. No, that account is ridiculous. Okay? And no, you can't say it's 0%. Anyway, Brother, read the second and fourth paragraph here. It's exactly the same. The Associated Press visited the site. It saw none of the usual signs of an airstrike from an Israeli F-16 or a drone, adding to the suspicions of the blast was caused by an errant rocket. Yes. All of this is true. Okay. Let's get into it. Let's talk. Let's get started on this. Okay. So, given the new information that has come up that is not related to what the fucking IDF is saying at all, we will cover that separately. Okay? And, Bellingcat is not my favorite source for this kind of thing, given their proclivity to sometimes work with the State Departments in general. There are more independent third-party investigators. I would trust people like Evan Hill before I would trust Bellingcat in situations like this. I'm just letting you know, okay? But ultimately, there are undeniable facts that you can see with your own two eyes, okay? Evan Hill is a forensic analyst for the Washington Post. He used to work for the New York Times. I think he's done a really good job of, showing his credibility. Him and his team were 10K for Mike. Oh shit! Thank you, Michael from Pennsylvania. Look at that. Central_committee. Thank you for the $10,000 dono. Dono matching at 10K, folks. Anyway, yesterday, an explosion at the Al Ahli Baptist Hospital in Gaza City on Tuesday killed hundreds of people. Gaza's health ministry said the number was 500 and increasing. We still don't know what the official count is. I have no reason to disbelieve the Gaza Health Ministry in this circumstance, especially after seeing those videos. It was a densely packed area full of civilians, and we found out that the missile actually hit the courtyard and not the hospital itself. Earlier reporting on the ground, unfortunately, due to a lack of access to any kind of verification on the ground, given Gaza's circumstances under occupation, heavy bombing, no electricity, no internet. Internet is very patchy. There was not enough verification beyond the on-the-ground sources that were directly victim to the attack. In that circumstance, I was, alongside every single other person, made to believe that the hospital was leveled, which is not the truth. The hospital, luckily, was not leveled. I don't believe that the hospital was entirely leveled, but I thought that the hospital was severely damaged. Videos, the only verified video of the rocket fire of the incident, made it seem like it was consistent with Israeli air raids, possibly a MK-84 rocket, MK-84 missile, which Israel has been using all around Gaza and still continues to use all around Gaza. The hospital is 100% operational, luckily. I believe the death toll still, because there's some misinformation on that end as well. Why report if you're not 100%? Well, say that you're wrong. Why report if you're not 100%? Shut the fuck up. If your goal is to come in here and be like, ha, fucking got you, you're wrong. You are a fucking delusional loser. 4,200 Palestinians have been slaughtered. Of course I'm going to report breaking fucking news. Shut the fuck up. Why did you immediately come in here and say, actually, Israel said they didn't do it? You believe them 100%. The fuck are you talking about, jackass? I'm giving you more information now. Shut the fuck up. My goal is not to fucking get a gotcha. My goal is to cover what is going on and make analysis off of the information available. The information available at the time 100% led to this most likely being an Israeli airstrike. The information now that the dust has settled, now that there was actual sunlight and additional people on the ground in the bomb site shows a different reality. I agree with the PBS News report on the matter. That said, it was a number of blasts during the fighting that did not bear the telltale signs of an Israeli F-16 or drone strike, and which the Israeli military said might have been caused by rockets misfired by the Palestinian Islamic Jihad militant group. Originally, given how large the bomb was, how large the bomb was, and how many casualties occurred, how many deaths occurred with the bombing, without seeing the actual site of the bomb in the darkness, the understandable assumption was that this was another JDAM, an Mk-84 Israeli rocket. This is a rocket that Israel has used time and time again on civilian residential areas. Okay? Israel also has zero credibility on the matter when defending their bombing campaigns. Why? Because they have, one, lied routinely when they have sniped people with IDF sniper rifles. They have lied routinely and then had to later retract when they've done bombing campaigns as well, including 5 Palestinian children that were slaughtered in a cemetery on the last day of the last siege that Israel conducted on Gaza. They originally said this was a Palestinian rocket, and then later, a couple months later, retracted quietly and said, yeah, it was us, actually. So for that reason, and also the fact that an Israeli official openly, immediately ran the propaganda line that, like, well, we killed a bunch of Hamas terrorists in this hospital, deleted it, and then retracted it fairly quickly on. And also the fact that Israel had bombed the hospital already on the prior Saturday and had routinely told every person to evacuate the hospital time and time again, including 6 hospitals. The fact that they also shelled 22 hospitals in Gaza so far is an understandable reason as to why one would make the assertion that Israel also bombed this hospital as well as all the other hospitals that is bombed. It is fucking insane. Anyone who says that, well, like, I immediately heard Israel say that they didn't bomb this hospital, even though they had literally verifiably bombed it 2 days prior, is a fucking delusional clown. Of course that is going to be the original assertion. Now that there's new information, however, you should be able to change your position. You should be able to analyze it accordingly. Exercise critical thinking. Stop trying to fucking yell at people when new information comes out. Dumbasses. Anyway, the new information is we have a clearer picture of the bomb site. And when you have a clearer picture of the bomb site and the actual and if you're familiar with, like, what Hamas rocket capabilities are, or Islamic Jihad rocket capabilities are, and you look at that site, it is more consistent with a misfire from a rocket than it is with Israeli missiles. That's it. That's the fucking truth. That's the truth of the matter. This does not change the reality that Israel lies and is still lying, which is so insane. Because, like, even the information that they brought up, like the verifiable proof they brought up, does not match the actual information that they keep releasing. Like, the phone conversation that they supposedly, quote unquote, intercepted does not match the Israeli Air Force's drone footage and where they believe the fucking rocket fire came from. Make this make sense to me. If you are literally 100% certain you didn't do this, how the fuck do you turn around and then reveal information that contradicts itself? It makes no fucking sense. So that still has not changed, which is why I'm saying, until I get confirmation from forensic analysts, a third-party investigation, possibly from the UN, my position will remain the same. However, I will give you additional details that show that This, according to residents on the ground, a projectile fell from the air and exploded in the cemetery. When the Associated Press visited the site, it saw none of the usual signs of an airstrike by an Israeli F-16 or drone, adding to the suspicions that the blast was caused by an errant rocket. Both the Israeli military and Palestinian rights groups said at the time that they're still investigating the blast. Okay? On Tuesday, the Gaza-based Palestinian Center for Human Rights said its investigation of shrapnel and other evidence led it to conclude that the blast was caused by an Israeli airstrike. This was a missile fired from an Israeli aircraft, said Raji Sorani, the director of the group, as he displayed pictures of what he said was a fragment showing the missile's serial number. Israel's Haaretz newspaper, meanwhile, cited unnamed Israeli defense officials, saying the military's investigation had concluded that 5 were killed by an Israeli strike. Asked about the Haaretz story, the military said it was still examining the event. It said that throughout the latest round of fighting, it had targeted militant infrastructure and made every feasible effort to minimize as much as possible harm to civilians and civilian property. Now, that part is obviously bullshit. Okay? What is... Oh, this is... Oh, fuck. This is from the... This is from 2022. Oh, fuck. Well, regardless. The instance... I'm reading a fucking 2022 article. Jesus Christ. I thought I was looking at the Bellingcat article. The situation is identical. I got my war crimes mixed up. The situation is identical. The bombing is not consistent with an F-16 bombing. Okay? It's not. If you look at the actual damage on the ground, I got debated. If you look at the actual damage on the ground, you look at the actual crater and the impact on the ground, it is not consistent with Israeli airstrikes. This part is true. Okay? There are still people on the ground independently trying to verify whether or not this was Israel's doing or whether or not this was an accidental misfire. Okay? They could have used a less powerful rocket, though. Well, here's the thing, Yusuf Baitam. I believe that is the case as well. I still maintain the position that there is a high likelihood that this is an Israeli airstrike campaign. The problem is that Israel does not have bombs that, as far as I understand, explode like that beyond drones. And those drones are not capable of killing 300, 400, 500 people, no matter how densely packed people are. So when you look at the crater, Israel does have weapons. Israel does have missiles that are capable of, creating a crater that is this size, but they are not the type of missiles or rockets that would be able to deliver such high number of casualties. The hospital, as far as I understand, did withstand damage, but is now back to 100%. It was not the hospital that got a direct hit. The hospital was directly hit, however, on Saturday by Israel. You disappoint me? Okay. The audio that the IDF brought out is fucking idiotic. Okay? This hospital was directly hit by Israeli shells on Saturday. That was a direct hit on the hospital. Okay? There's a direct hit on the hospital. That much is not disputed. That is just a objective fact. That is verified already. And that hospital bombing was accompanied by phone calls from the IDF telling the hospital administrators to evacuate. Okay? Source it, my man. Okay, there you go. I will source it for you. Where's the Anglican newspaper that covered it? I showed it yesterday. Here it is. Anglican-run Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza damaged by Israeli rocket fire as war continues. This was posted on October 16th. And the Diagnostic Cancer Treatment Center of the Al-Ahli Arab Hospital in Gaza has been hit by an Israeli rocket. 2 upper floors of the center, which housed the ultrasound and mammography wards, were severely damaged. This, of course, came on 7:30 p.m. on Saturday 14th. 4 hospital staff were injured in the blast and are receiving treatment for their wounds. Okay? Thank you. You never showed this yesterday. Yes, I did. I did show it. I showed it multiple times, as a matter of fact. Why do you think someone was so quick to pull it up? Of course I showed it. I cover shit for 10 hours every fucking day. You come in here for like 2 to 3 minutes, maybe 5 minutes, maybe an hour, and you don't see it. But it doesn't matter. Of course I covered it. Of course I did. Not only did I cover it from this newspaper directly, but I also covered it from a foreign press as well, Anadolu Ajans, Anadolu Agency, the Turkish Associated Press, basically. Now, here's what is verifiably true. This attack is verifiably true. The phone calls that hospital administrators got were also verifiably true. The director of the hospital also talked. I can't show this video. I'm pretty sure this is going to show dead babies and dead bodies.
14/10/2023.
Yeah, the administrators of the hospital, also showed this as well. There's a lot of dead children and dead bodies in this video, but the administrators of the hospital also mentioned that the IDF had told them regularly to leave the hospital itself. Okay? I see the people talking about JDAMs, which includes the Mark 83 GBU 32, does have an airburst mode, which does not produce a crater. It kills using shrapnel, shockwave, and fireball from the explosion. But here's the thing. If that was a JDAM, guys, I look, I don't know too much about, I've told you guys this, I'm not a missile autist by any means, okay? But I do know one thing. The weight class of a JDAM is much larger. If that shit actually fucking hit, even with an airburst, you wouldn't have only one car that flipped. You would have multiple cars that literally evaporated in that moment and flew into the hospital and into other people. Okay? It's even if it did an airburst, there would be no fucking cars there. Not a single car that was flipped, and like 4 other cars that were on fire. Okay? Myself and many others thought that this was a MK-84 missile. Did Hassan learn all this from Arma 3 footage? Wait, what? No. When you are not knowledgeable on the issues that you speak of with an absolute fucking certainty, you speak to people who are knowledgeable on the issues. What do you mean? I talk to forensic analysts and people who understand the impact of these sorts of things much better than I do. That's my job. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to source my shit. Also, it is official. We have now officially reached 1 million. That's right. We have now officially reached $1 million for the 4 Palestinian charities that are working currently tirelessly on the ground. I'm very proud of this community. I'm going to continue the fundraiser. And yeah, I mean, thank you so much for your contributions. You guys are incredible. And you make a lot of the ridiculousness worth it at the end of the day. Look, the situation is dire, obviously, but you know, we're doing our very best out here. But yeah, I'm proud of you guys. So thank you for your contributions. I think it will be very helpful for the people on the ground. Obviously, it won't right the wrongs. You know, it won't change the reality. It won't put Palestinians back into homes that were stolen from them, but at least, like, you know, at least some will be able to get the medical assistance that they desperately need. So I'm very, very proud of you guys for helping in that effort. Okay. With respect to the current situation, this is why we have a policy of not doing live events coverage, which is very difficult in this current news. It's all live. People who are criticizing you on this are doing so in bad faith and they know it. Yeah, I don't care. The people who are criticizing me on this are also fucking literally running along with every single unverifiable piece of information that the IDF reveals, despite their long and convoluted track history, track record of just like straight up being wrong. Okay. And also have been falsely smearing me for funding Hamas because of the on the ground charities that we're funding. So those people are brain broken. They don't care about the actual impact on the ground. It's just, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about them anymore. Okay. So, like I was saying, even if you believe that there's an airburst happening with a JDAM airburst that blows up above the ground, which once again, it would have to be literally right above the ground and not this high up. Okay, it still doesn't change the reality. It still doesn't change the reality that the impact on the ground would not look the way it does. I don't know why this Bellingcat this Bellingcat article doesn't feature the cars and all of the other pieces of information. Here, I'll show it to you. But I think that is important to see. Okay? Of course, while I try to show you exactly what is going on the ground and cut through the fog of war and the misinformation, one thing to consider is, regardless of whether it was Israel or the Islamic Jihad that was responsible for the hospital bombing, that still doesn't change the reality that Israel is still very much bombing the living shit out of Gaza. Israel still has not turned on the electricity in Gaza. Israel has still not allowed food to go back into Gaza until Joe Biden came down to Israel and had to pressure the Netanyahu regime. They were not even allowing humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. But here, this is, I think, while I normally would not agree with a lot of the Os and Andes on this one, facts are facts. This is the reality. Okay? This does not change the atrocities that are ongoing. Israel is still bombing residential areas. Okay? But if you want to understand exactly what happened at this hospital, the hospital was not leveled. It was the courtyard of the hospital, which was densely packed with refugees that were escaping Israeli bombing campaigns all around the region. Israel also bombed the last fucking bakery in this process. Okay? The I told you so nonsensical bullshit is just, that's what it is. It's just a way to continue having internet debates while people are fucking dying. It's just another way to show that you don't care about the actual issue at hand. I'm confused about the Anglo report you showed earlier. I thought the second floor was destroyed. This is from Saturday. They did not destroy the entirety of the second floor. This is a shell. This is not a missile. Okay? Very likely, this is artillery. Like, this is most likely a shelling. It just destroyed the cancer ward. It did not entirely destroy the hospital. There are different kinds of weapons being used by the IDF and the Israeli Air Force. Okay? There's some more updates from Evan Hill, who parsed through, I suspect, the information that Israel posted that also doesn't make sense. The one thing that we have not been able to account for thus far, is where the whistle came from. Because the on-the-ground reporting from Al Jazeera at the time, even before they found out that the hospital had actually been bombed, was talking about how you can hear the F-16s above us. They are going into Gaza, and they're bombing that neighborhood. So when the IDF and the IAF say that there was no bombing campaigns occurring in the region, I do not believe them. I don't think that that is correct. I think that that is incorrect. Those videos, if you look at the Al Jazeera live feed, show that that is not correct. So that part is already false. So that's important to understand in this assessment. One thing that still I have not seen a good enough answer for is how the potential rocket misfire from Islamic Jihad was able to cause so much damage. I guess the ongoing theory, the active theory that this is not Israeli rocket fire, it believes that given the number, or given how much rocket fuel was also in the rocket, that it misfired in such a short trajectory that it compounded on the blast. Okay? That it made the blast far greater, and it also is the reason why you immediately saw fire. Like you saw the entire area on fire. Okay? However, as far as this being an Israeli Air Force operation, even if this was an airburst JDAM like the ones you speak of, that would be a far greater crater. There would be an actual noticeable crater that you could walk into. So the sound and explosion of the ordnance is consistent with IDF bombings, but the damage is consistent with PIJ rockets. Not even PIJ rockets, but just rockets that have been utilized in the past, yes. And not damage from a human casualty number, because the number of people that are reportedly dead from this attack is far greater than any singular strike that has ever happened. Okay? It's far greater. Far, far greater. The death toll is far larger. It would be, if this was an Israeli Air Force operation, as I said yesterday, this would be the singular worst Israeli Air Force operation, the singular most deadly Israeli Air Force operation. Okay? So that's something to remember. However, when you look at the impact of this, you mostly see fire, cars damaged, couple cars that flew above, like a couple cars, and one car that turned around, right? One car that flipped. That is not enough. That in and of itself, in my opinion, immediately disqualifies a larger Israeli munition being used in this situation. Okay? That's my assessment on the matter. Now, the Israeli Air Force also has different weapons at their disposal. Weapons like their drone weapons that they have at their disposal. These, however, are like anti-tank drones and anti-vehicle drones, and they are not large enough to kill hundreds of people. Okay? That's it. That's just the truth. So their smaller munitions are not large enough to kill hundreds of people and cause an explosion of that magnitude, and their larger weapons are much larger than the impact that you see on the ground. Okay? That's it. I'm leaving the stream right now. Hassan was adamant that it was a JDAM yesterday. Wait, what do you mean? Yes. Because with the information readily available, why the fuck would I think anything else? Israel uses MK-84 rockets. Yes, that is. These are targeted missiles that they use regularly. They use it on residential. They have used those rockets on residential targets over and over again over the course of the past 10 fucking days. If you consider this to be your pivotal moment where you're like, well, this is the one time they didn't use it, so I'm fucking leaving, because he thought that, you know, it was the same fucking weapons that Israel used, especially because it was literally identical in sound and impact with the information that was readily available at the time. I'm just saying, you were going off about it being 90% IDF yesterday. Yes, of course I was. Why? Okay, you can leave if you want. I don't care. But it is fucking insane to me that you would go, wow, I can't believe you were 90% certain it was IDF when the IDF has already done more bombing campaigns since then, utilizing the same fucking missiles. Shut the fuck up. And it's still not 100%. It's still not verified that it wasn't Israel's airstrikes. Okay? Yes, I saw the Francesco Sebregondi. He is a formerly worked at the forensics architecture. I know this doesn't entirely disprove it either. Okay? I've seen this. I'm going to pull up this I'm going to pull that up in a second as well. With the information available at the time, if you were to just go with, yeah, no, I just believe the IDF and they said they didn't bomb this, when all fucking facts pointed to the fact that they did bomb it, especially considering that they had bombed it 2 days prior, you're just only showing me that you are a biased fucking clown ass. Okay? I know a lot of people are horny to just go and say, nah, dog. Yeah, really, really stupid of you to think that the same military force that has killed 4,200 Palestinians thus far, 1,000 plus children thus far, would bomb the hospital that they said they were going to bomb, that they had bombed 2 days prior. If you think that that is an insane assertion to make, you are the most delusional freak I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay? Match the same energy you had yesterday when you thought it was IDF. Why aren't you even nearly as enraged as you are yesterday? What are you saying? How can you be in here for... Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so fucking stupid. This is so incredibly fucking stupid. What do you mean? Match the same energy you had yesterday when you thought it was IDF. Yeah, what do you want me to do? Oh, wow. I am not 100% certain that it's the Islamic Jihad rockets that misfired in here, okay? But guess what, dude? I'm mad at them too, okay? I don't give a fuck whose rocket it is. Are you fucking stupid? What is the argument here? What is your argument? Your argument is that it's only okay when Israel kills Palestinians? It's really fucked up? You're not even in the business of like condemning violence. You're only in the business of condemning violence when you suspect that it is being done in the hands of Islamic Jihad. Is that what it is? Are you fucking stupid? Do you not understand what you're trying to say here? Israel has shut off electricity, food, and water into the Gaza Strip. 2.2 million people live there. It is one of the most densely packed open-air prisons on the fucking planet. They've been bombing it mercilessly. This last bombing, being Israeli Air Force or being the Islamic Jihad, does not change that reality. What the fuck are you saying? At this point, there is still not 100% evidence, and yet I'm still showing you the other side's actual verifiable evidence. Until a third-party investigation is concluded, I will not tell you without a doubt that this was not an Israeli airstrike, because Israel has been continuously doing airstrikes and is still doing airstrikes. It is fucking laughable and insane for me to turn around and be like, well, this time maybe it's not Israel because they said so, especially when time and time again they have fucking lied. They're still in their counter, in their information campaign today. In their information campaign today, They have inconsistent information. You did that yesterday, you spineless fuck, but you went live saying IDF bombed 500 people. In fact, Hamas claimed it thus far. Don't you think this is irresponsible to conclude? It's not irresponsible to conclude. If you think that it's irresponsible for me. Okay. No, I know what's going on. This is a derailment strategy. I am dealing with socially maladjusted, agoraphobic freaks who refuse to touch grass and can only comprehend the human toll, not necessarily on its cruelty and not necessarily on the lives lost, but simply on internet debates and winning internet points. Okay? I am not trying to debate you. I'm done. I do not care what your perspective is on the matter. You are very openly coming in here with an agenda that is inconsistent with the values that you supposedly espouse. If you believe the human toll is unimaginable and devastating, then why the fuck do you only care about being like, oh, it's irresponsible that you thought the IDF bombed this hospital, and you still are saying the IDF could have bombed this hospital, while I'm in the process of explaining to you and correcting the record with new information that is now available to me that there is a likelihood that this might not be an IDF bombing. It is very obvious to you that you do not even care about the retractions. You just care about fucking winning an argument that you made up in your mind. Meanwhile, thousands of children are fucking dead. It is psychotic. It is psychotic to have this perspective. You didn't even win shit in that position. Holy fuck. Look at you. You can't even accept that you misconclude. All right. We're banning everybody. Ugh. Your friend seems to think it's still 100% IDF. I know there are plenty of people online that still 100% think it's IDF because there is a tremendous amount of circumstantial evidence, especially, that points to this being a part of the ongoing bombing campaign. Okay? But that, in and of itself, is not enough. When there was not enough evidence of the aftermath of the bombing, it was understandable to make that assertion. Now that there is more evidence showing me, at least, the aftermath of the bombing, my position is still that the likelihood that this is an Israeli Air Force conducted operation still remains, and yet I am telling you that a rocket misfire counter is infinitely more valid than it was yesterday. Okay? That's it. And the reasons as to why I believe that that this is possibly a rocket misfire from Islamic Jihad or Hamas is because of the aftermath of the damage. Photos of the aftermath show that the vast majority of the damage is from fire. Only 3 cars show any clear signs of kinetic structural damage, and for 2 of them, the general structure remains intact despite clear damage. This is consistent with rocket misfires. Okay? This is consistent with rocket misfires. That's it. And I am not saying that I agree with Nathan Rooser. I'm simply using the images, okay? I'm using the images that they're posting because these are images of the ground. 1, are we 100% sure the original balcony video is accurate and shows this explosion and not some other? 2, are we 100% sure they aren't lying about the death count? The balcony video that was the only verified footage from the bombing up until the Al Jazeera coverage as well. That video was verified by forensic analysts and Washington Post and every mainstream media outlet pretty much. So yeah, I do believe that is accurate. I have no reason to believe that it's inaccurate. Okay? How much did the IDF pay you? It's a ridiculous thing to say to me, I think. We don't even know why it misfired. Don't let these people derail you. I know. Yeah. The notion that like the IDF has not done this before is also silly. Of course you're going to be skeptical. You're out of your fucking mind. You are an unserious, delusional freak if you think that the ongoing bombing campaign, as it's still going on, okay, where people are food deprived by the same occupying force, didn't bomb this hospital after they said they bombed it, you're not a serious person. And if you don't know the facts of the matter, if you don't know that Israel has like lied regularly, the IDF has lied regularly about their bombing campaigns, including this one, the strike killed 5 Gaza children, officials admit after initially blaming Islamic Jihad, then I don't know what to tell you. Of course I'm going to be skeptical. Of course. Of course, 100%. Anyway, but I did see the IDF recorded the Israeli Air Force footage in the aftermath showing the destruction, or rather the lack thereof, the lack of destruction. Rolling Stone published an article yesterday showing that Israel shared a video from 2022 claiming it was from the attack yesterday. I know. There are many different reasons as to why I am still skeptical, and I'm not 100% certain that this wasn't an Israeli Air Force bombing campaign. Part of the reason why is because the coverage on the ground at the time showed that there were F-16s in the air. There was bombing happening in the region. There was bombing happening in the neighborhood. Israel had warned that hospital, including 6 other hospitals in the area, to evacuate time and time again. Israel had bombed this specific hospital. Okay? And if you ask one more time, why no skepticism? Where was that skepticism yesterday? Why would I maintain that skepticism before seeing the fucking crater impact? Why would I think that this is anything different than yet another bomb that Israel dropped on the hospital that it had dropped the bomb on? It would be fucking delusional for me to turn around and go, hey guys, I know that Israel has bombed 22 hospitals thus far in the region, has told 6 hospitals in the region to leave, to evacuate, has bombed that exact same hospital. But guess what? I'm going to go ahead and assume it's not Israel this time. You have to be a fucking psycho to say that in that moment. Now that there's more evidence showing the aftermath of that bombing, I am not so certain that it was Israel. But to think that this is like unreasonable to make these assertions, you are delusional. You do not want to make these assertions because you do not want to live with the reality, as you are purposefully using this opportunity and the misinformation that is going around to act like 4,200 children didn't die before yesterday. 4,200 people, 1,000 plus children didn't die before yesterday in Gaza over the course of the past 10 fucking days. You're so fucking stupid. You're a monster. You're a monstrous piece of shit if all you care about is debating this, debating that, debating this, debating that. You fucking animal. Holy shit. If Ted Bundy said he was going to fucking decapitate another person in a sorority, and that person was fucking decapitated a week later, okay? Especially when Ted Bundy was seen in the neighborhood, you wouldn't go, this is probably not Ted Bundy. You'd be a fucking psycho. You'd literally be insane to be like, well, hold on now. I know Ted Bundy said that they were going to decapitate a girl in this sorority, and I know that there's a decapitated girl in this sorority, and I know that Ted Bundy was in the region, but like maybe it's someone else. And then you find out the knife is different than the one that Ted Bundy uses, and you're like, well, I don't know. Seems like you're changing your position now that you know the knife is different. Seems like you're backtracking. Where was this skepticism yesterday? Why the fuck would I be skeptical in that situation? Especially as Ted Bundy has decapitated yet another person and since then. You're fucking stupid. Fuck. Anyway, I can't even go through the information that actually goes against what my suspicion was yesterday without a bunch of fucking weirdo freaks coming in here to be like, haha, well, you were wrong. The indignity, dude. Holy shit. How can you live with yourself? The debate pedophiles are out in droves. Holy moly. My job is to tell you what I think is going on. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that and cut through the fog of war. cut through the misinformation. Okay? The fact that the IDF has not led to the fact that the IDF does not have a consistent message on the matter still 24 hours after the fact is insane to me, and only further fuels the suspicion that maybe they're not saying the truth. You're just radicalizing people, dude, saying I don't know or we don't know is fine, is it not? I'm radicalizing people into what? I'm radicalizing people into what? What is the argument? That this is the straw that broke the camel's back, but let's not fucking think of all of the other instances? Like, what do you mean? You think I am the reason why people are like, wow, let's go storm the fucking embassy, and not because of the past fucking 10 days of relentless and ruthless slaughter? Are you fucking out of your mind? Israel has maintained an apartheid state for 75 years. The last siege has now killed 4,200 people before this bombing campaign, before this bomb, okay? 1,000 plus children. But you know, that's not radicalizing. That's not radicalizing. What's radicalizing is I heard some fucking Twitch guy say that this is probably Israel, just like every other fucking bomb that has fallen on Gaza thus far. Wow. You have horse blinders on. You can only see the world through debate. You're basically revealing your own personal perspective on the matter. That's it. That's it. That's it. You are most likely a fucking reactionary, and you cannot see the world outside of this like incredibly narrow framework where you're like, this fucking Twitch streamer is responsible for all of this, and not like literal carnage occurring on the ground. Fuck. The same debate purpose from the Ukraine war beginning. I know. You can see the F-16 flares deploying the top left of the Al Jazeera broadcast, which also confirms even without audio that there was bombing happening. Yes. Anyway, you're just giving the other side ammunition. You don't believe either side until more info comes out, though? Is it hard to just wait until going on a narrative? Bro, I'm losing my mind. Okay, all right, we're done. I am not giving the other side ammunition. You want to say that because you have an account that was created in 2013, and you most likely are a fan of other streamers who are going to use this as an opportunity because they don't give a fuck about the actual people that are dying on the ground, let alone raising money for any of the fucking people that are dying on the ground, because they only care about fucking debating, okay? They only care about debating, just like you do. And that's why you're in here, so you can cut a fucking clip and put it on a Reddit and you know, get your fucking karma up. That's all you give a shit about. Stop. Like, when people come in here and go, dude, why didn't you believe the IDF? They're basically saying, no, you're doing this. You should have 100% believed Israel. You should have 100% believed Israel from the jump. You should have 100% just avoided all of the things that you know about how the IDF has lied in the past about their own personal assassinations with sniper fire, and also their bombing campaigns, and have quietly went back on those lies time and time again. You should have just taken what they said, hook, line, and sinker. Why didn't you believe them? Why didn't you believe them immediately? There was insane amounts of compelling evidence that this would be, of course, another instance of the ongoing bombing campaign that is still continuing since you came in here. Stop banning. Okay. All right. Clap, everybody. All right. Let's continue. As I was saying, this lack of structural damage in most cars also clear that the IDF released drone footage from less than 2 hours after the explosion. Again, these only show 3 cars with structural damage, and cars more than around 10 to 15 meters away appear mostly undamaged. Footage from the ground leveled this morning shows essentially no crater and very little damage. So there is a crater, but the crater itself is very small in comparison to how large it would be in a situation. This is the IDF or this is the Israeli Air Force drone footage that showed the damage in the aftermath. They're talking about the impact site consistent with an object that broke apart in midair though I wouldn't view this point as conclusively as others. Now, here's why there's still inconsistencies. Okay? There are still inconsistencies in the IDF's own counter information, in the own counter messaging. Okay? The IDF has released information thus far that shows in the phone conversations that they supposedly intercepted between the Islamic Jihad, they claim that the rocket fire actually came from the cemetery close by. There is no evidence in the footage that we have seen thus far that shows that, okay? There's no evidence in the footage we have seen thus far that shows that. The only verifiable phone footage from that balcony still is consistent with a F-16 potentially flying overhead and a bomb that was dropped on the courtyard of the hospital. Since this has happened, there is, at least according to Al-Quds, residential buildings are being bombed near another Gaza hospital. Since the Al Ahli Arab Hospital explosion, airstrikes have occurred in not only another residential area next to another Gaza hospital, but also at a UN school and a refugee camp and other hospitals. The one most damning one being at least 6 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the UN RWA school in Gaza. This was yesterday. This happened in unison with the hospital bombing. Okay? And a mosque as well, as far as I understand it. Who confirmed the balcony footage? Forensic analysts at the Washington Post and every other mainstream media outlet confirmed it. This is also part of the reason why it's fucking psychotic to just like look at the situation and be like, well, you know, I guess it's not like, do you think this is also the Islamic Jihad? Do you think that's what's going on? Huge bombardments are taking place according to the Palestine Red Crescent Society. Huge bombardments are taking place in the areas around the Palestine Red Crescent Society Al-Quds Hospital in Gaza City, which is sustaining damages and shrapnels inside the building of the PRCS and constituting high threat, noting that more than 8,000 IDPs are taking refuge there. Right now, they're bombing a residential building near this hospital. Do you understand? Here. It blows my fucking mind that people are still acting like, oh, it is 100% certain that this definitively was not an Israeli airstrike at the hospital yesterday, when, as I've told you, it is not definitive at all until there is a third-party investigation. Until there is a third-party investigation that is concluded, I will not say that this wasn't an Israeli airstrike, given how Israel is still doing airstrikes. It is fucking insane. It is fucking insane to act like that's not the case. It's also insane to think that this is a gotcha that all of a sudden changes the dynamic of this fucking ongoing slaughter. You have to be a worthless piece of shit to legitimately go, oh, well, you know, I can't believe it. I can't believe that this was the Islamic Jihad, actually, which all of a sudden makes me reconsider what? The fucking 4,200 people that were killed by Israeli munitions? What the fuck are you saying? You are such a deeply unserious person if you think like the only thing you care about in this situation is getting a fucking gotcha, or simultaneously acting like it's only bad when the fucking Islamic Jihad misfires a rocket. Are you stupid? What is the argument? You're not making a good argument in that situation. You're just being a fucking psycho. You can try to be like, oh, well, I just care about the misinformation spreading, and that's why I'm in here, because I need to stop the misinformation spreading, when I can fucking look at your logs and see how much you pushed whatever kind of fucking Israeli propaganda has come out thus far. It doesn't even matter. And you're doing it at a time when I'm trying to literally correct the record and offer additional details. It's so gross and disgusting that your goal here is to fucking get a W. That's what the point is. Why don't you just tell the truth and not make up things that make you look like a partisan hack? Yeah, I'm a partisan hack. I am biased, by the way. I'm biased towards Palestinians and their plight. Okay, 100%. 100%. I am. I don't hide that shit at all. I believe in a single secular state for all Palestinians with a right to return to coexist alongside the Israelis that live there. Okay, that's what I believe. I've made my position clear from the jump. And the only way that I believe we can achieve that objective is by immediately starting a ceasefire, ending the siege, and ending the occupation and the apartheid regime, offering reparations to the victims, charging war criminals for the crimes that they conducted in an independent, global Truth and Reconciliation Committee. That's it. That's the only way forward. Whether yesterday's explosion and bombing was a misfire from the Islamic Jihad, a marginal fucking group, or whether it was the consistent and ongoing Israeli bombing campaign in Gaza, does not change that perspective. Just like it doesn't bring those people back. Just like it doesn't bring the 4,200 Palestinians that the Israeli rockets have killed thus far. 1,000 plus children, even before yesterday's hospital attacks. You are fucking insane if you think getting a gotcha in this moment is all you care about, is going to actually give you moral clarity in some ways. You are silly as fuck. I hate you so much. If that is your perspective, you are a fucking cretin, dude. Straight up. Disgusting. Filth. Pathetic. Evan Hill has an update. It now seems that the barrage the IDF claims as the source of the rocket misfire, apparently shown in this Channel 12 footage, is different from the single rocket intercept video that was the focus of much attention last night. Francesco Sebragandi said, the version, this is from last night, the version saying it would have been caused by a Palestinian rocket misfire is gaining traction online and among OSINT communities. A thread showing weaknesses in this version and why an Israeli bombing is more highly plausible. This post, aggregating several geolocation efforts, appears to conclude that it was a Palestinian rocket misfire based on mere synchronicity between a visible rocket fire over Gaza and the explosion geolocated on the site of the hospital. My question to Geo confirmed on the subject hasn't received a response. Said, hello and thanks for this analysis. How do you establish a causal link between a mid-air rocket explosion and the massive explosion that you geolocated at the site of the hospital? No one has given an answer for this. It does not seem possible, based on the data used by GeoConfirm, to discard the hypothesis of two synchronous events, one rocket fire and one targeted bombing, with no causal links between them. This morning, footage has emerged at the site of the hospital, starting with the IDF itself, which published drone footage arguing that the absence of a visible crater is proof that it is not them, but a failed rocket launched by the Islamic Jihad, PIJ. A number of accounts online, including OSINT Technical, have been relaying this poorly substantiated argument. Indeed, a one-ton bomb, like an MK-84, many of which have been used by the IDF to bomb Gaza, would indeed result in a large crater, 10 to 15 meters wide. This is something that I have said as well. Other missiles, such as a drone-fired spike, for example, also used by the IDF, would not leave a considerable crater. However, the problem here remains. While this is a fair assessment of the matter, a drone-fired spike is not capable of killing hundreds of people. Even if it's not 500 people, hundreds of people cannot die by a drone-fired spike rocket. On this topic, see our Joint Forensics Archive and Amnesty analysis of the bombing in Rafah in 2014, an example of a MK-84 bombing. And for comparison, see the Human Rights Watch's 2009 report on drone strikes in Gaza. The drone-launched missiles detonate above the ground, which creates a narrow, relatively shallow crater from missile parts not involved in the fragmentation hitting the ground. For the historians here, the no crater argument painfully resonates with the negationist argument of Robert Forrison. No holes visible on the roof structures of Auschwitz equals no gas chambers equals no Holocaust. See Wiseman Eyal, key analysis of this invalid argument. Interestingly, as I write, the same account now publishing an actual picture of a small crater on the site of the Al Ahli Hospital. Possible impact crater at the Al Ahli Hospital, Gaza, roughly 1 by 1 meter, maybe 30 centimeters deep. Okay? Now let's look at the available information that would point to Israel's responsibility in this blast. First, the IDF actually already bombed the hospital on the 14th as a warning to evacuate, as Le Monde reported, which I reported on as well. Second, while I'm not an expert on Palestinian rockets, the probability of the thesis that a fragment of a rocket exploded in midair over Gaza would fall precisely on the courtyard of the hospital and generate a blast capable of killing hundreds seems extremely low. This is true. This is true. It is extremely low. It could have happened. I'm not discounting it, but it is incredibly unlikely. It is far more likely for the ongoing bombing campaign that Israel was conducting in that region and is conducted in Gaza consistently had a singular targeted strike in that courtyard. Third, for having investigated and reported Israel's war crimes in Palestine and in Gaza in particular for over a decade, I must say that we're witnessing communication-wise feels like textbook IDF disinformation and fog of war tactic. This part is also 100% true. The use of this argument by IDF to cover up particularly deadly strikes, then admitting responsibility later, has already occurred many times in the past. Israeli strike killed 5 Gaza children, officials admit, after initially blaming Islamic Jihad. We already covered it. Okay? We already covered that. But there are still inaccuracies, okay? Oh, but I said this too, by the way. Here's the guy that wrote the Human Rights Watch report. I wrote this report. The damage seen in the Gaza hospital was not caused by an Israeli spike missile. The impact hole from a spike is mere centimeters in width. That is exactly what I said as well. That is why I'm telling you, while this thread brings up decent questions, it still does not give an answer to what caused that impact. What caused that explosion. Just like I told you, a spike missile is not capable of killing that many people, and that damage is not consistent with a spike missile. Okay? This is why I'm telling you that there is more confusion on the matter now that there is more information on the matter. Okay? No, it is not a Hamas weapons storage, man. Shut up. What are you saying? Dude, first of all, Hamas does store weapons in residential areas. This part is absolutely, yes, it is true, okay? It does. It stores them in tunnels, but you know where they store it in residential areas? In a fucking compact room that is like as far in the goddamn ground as possible. Why would they leave it out in the fucking open? What are you, crazy? And also, even if they did leave it out in the open, then they would explode. There would be multiple explosions. They would not store weapons in a fucking parking lot. You silly goofs. And weapons that would be stored in a potential parking lot would explode in a way that you can see it. When a munitions depot is attacked, like the video that I showed you from Ukraine, there are multiple secondary, third explosions that are firing off into the air like it's a fucking fireworks show.
Damn, this guy's good.